what happened between Osain and Orunmila that led to the world's first tombstone. Tune in and find out. Ashiu. Alafia, everybody. Bendiciones. So I'm coming to you guys with another Pataki. For those who don't know, a Pataki is a story within Yoruba tradition, usually involving the Orisha, and there to teach us important things about life and our spiritual systems in general of how the way the world works. Ashe. And so in this Pataki, for those who don't understand, Patakis also change a little bit depending on the region it's coming out of, right? So the way they tell it in Oshogbo will be slightly different than how they tell the Pataki in Cuba. Will be slightly different than how they tell the Pataki in Ibadan, right? But the central meaning of the story holds true. And so in this Pataki, we will be talking about a situation with Osain and Orunmila. So for those who don't know, Osain is basically the one who rules over the herbs, and the medicines that come through Ifa by way of the herbs is Osain. Okay? And Orunmila is the divine prophet. Orunmila is the messenger of Ifa, which is the word of Olodumare. Ifa is the word of Olodumare. And so basically, this is a story involving them. And so the story goes like this. All right? Osain, he lives in the woods. All right? He's around plants. He's around nature. That is his element. Ashe. And, he kind of lives off to himself. One day, he decided to come into town. And when he came into town, who did he see? He seen the wife of Orunmila. And so when Osain seen Orunmila's wife, he instantly fell in love with her. Okay? Osain fell in love with Orunmila's wife, and he convinced her to run away with him. Yes. Osain convinced Orunmila's wife to run away with him. But this was the thing. Orunmila's wife tells Osain, hey, if Orunmila finds out about this, he's gonna unalive us both, basically, right? And so Osain says, okay, I got a plan. What I will do is I will make a antidote, a medicine with the herbs, and it will put you into a state that's similar to death. So people will think that you passed away. And so she says, okay, we do it. So Osain concocts the herbs together. He gives it to her, and everybody thinks she passes away. Orunmila is distraught about the whole situation, because he couldn't understand, how she could go so soon, and things like that. And basically, at that time they would wrap the body and put it at the feet of the ceiba tree. And so that's what they did. They held a ceremony for her, and they left her there at the ceiba tree. And when a little time went by where it, things kind of cooled off a little bit from people visiting the site and things like that, Osain comes back to that ceiba tree and gives her an antidote that wakes her back up. And so then she gets waken up. She with Osain, and they go off into a distant town together, right? And so now they're living their life together, Orunmila's wife and Osain. Now, when this happened, of course, Orunmila was distraught. Orunmila consulted Ifa to find out deeper into what took place with his wife. And so when he consults Ifa, the Odu Odimeji comes out. Okay? And so he had to make a bow. Now, Orunmila and that wife had a child together, a son. Okay? So when the Odu comes out, Orunmila has to make ebo. And so that ebo had different steps to it, where he had to take offerings to different parts of the elements, you know. There was a part of it that had to go into the hills, things like that, right? And Orunmila was missing a few herbs. So he sent his son to the marketplace, you know, a few towns over. And so his son goes to the marketplace to find the herbs. And as he's in the marketplace, he sees his supposed to be deceased mother selling herbs at the marketplace. The son was shocked. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. And so what he did was, he was so shocked, he didn't even run up to her and say, "Mom." He just immediately turned around to run back to Orunmila to say, "Dad, Baba, I seen mommy. I seen Iya. She in the market." Orunmila couldn't believe it. He's like, "You seen what?" Just as this is happening, Orunmila was doing another part of the consultation with Ifa, you know, digging into the matter. And so this next part of the ebo had to do with dropping that ebo in the marketplace. And so Orunmila is like, "Okay, I will go to the marketplace that you seen Iya, and I will go over there and leave the ebo in that marketplace." And so Orunmila goes to that town, and lo and behold, who's there selling the herbs? His supposed to be deceased wife. When she sees Orunmila, she instantly gets stricken with fear because she knows that she was wrong. And she has a heart attack and she passes away. And when this happened, of course, Orunmila was shocked, right? And this time, when he goes to bury her, well, when he goes to have their funeral, he decides to bury her and then put a big stone on top of it. And that was the birth of the first tombstone, Ashe. And so that is the story of Osayin, Orunmila's wife, and the first tombstone. Now, what can we learn from this story, family? What's done in the dark has a way of coming to the light. It doesn't always come to the light all the time. It doesn't always come to the light within that time. Sometimes things come to the light when you're deceased. But it comes a lot of times, more than not. Especially when it's a person that is spiritually inclined, that is consulting with spirit. Ashe. People, live a life that's as honest as you possibly can when it comes to dealing with other people. Because the wicked things that you do in the dark have a way of coming to the surface. And if the person that you're dealing with is spiritually inclined, just know they're probably going to find out. They're probably going to know. Now, they may choose not to say nothing to you, but that doesn't mean they don't know. Especially when it comes to dating and relationships. See, what this Pataki also teaches is to beware of things like infidelity. You can always be upfront with people. Understand, you don't have to lie. Be honest. Because in the end, it can cost you dearly. You know, some people, man, they act like they don't know. I'm a person that's that way. I'm a person that sometimes I see something, I won't tell you. I would just see it, write it down in the notes in my head and say, You see, so when I know that somebody does something wrong, maybe I bring it up right there, maybe I don't. Ashe. Maybe I just leave the person and just dump them and get rid of them and ghost them. But maybe I say, I know you playing me. Let me get what I can out the situation before I walk away. Sure. Maybe I say, let me let this person know that I know they did wrong so I can make distance. But just enough distance that I can see what happens when I curse them. Sure. Why? Because I'm King Brujo. That's why. So this is the people. This is the world. You don't know who's going to be who. Just do right by people. And you won't have to worry about things like that happening. Having heart attack in marketplace because you got caught. You only mad because you got caught, or you're not mad because you did the wrong thing. Everybody is not going to be love and light with you when they find out you did wrong. Some people are going to take it way different. They're going to react way different. And guess what? Even when you were able to get over on them without them finding out, they will still find out when they're spiritually inclined. Don't think they won't find out. They will know. Even if it's by accident, like how Orunmila found out. Accidentally. By casting Ifa and making Ebo, and then it just took him to the place where, my wife is here. What are you doing here? I thought you passed. We did the funeral. This is life. Realize that when your wickedness that was done in the dark comes to the light, you don't know how the person will react that you did the wickedness to. If that person is wicked too and have a wicked way, they may put you in a jar buried somewhere. They may put your picture somewhere where now spirits will eat it. You don't know. They may try to expose you. I don't know what. People will do anything. They will do anything. You don't know how people are going to handle being hurt. You don't know how people are going to handle betrayal. You just don't know. Hopefully, it's not somebody like King Brujo that would just bury your picture somewhere that's not good for you. Hopefully, it's somebody that's filled with love and light for the world that would say, they did me wrong. I will let it go. Hopefully. But likely, it probably won't be that sweet. Do good. Practice Iwapele. Do good in life. Treat people right. Treat people good. Treat people with honesty. If you don't like somebody like that, just tell them and go, you go your way, they go their way. Don't cheat them. Don't rob them out of that. That is the message. See, people think, King Brujo, he's wicked, he do this, he do that. Well, I'm telling you to do good, right? Okay, now if you do bad and they do bad to you, don't come talking to me and say, oh my God, I don't know what happened. You know what happened. I told you do good in life. I did not tell you to go in the world and doing people dirty. But when they do it to you, I would just turn a blind eye and say, oh, well, they're going to get their revenge how they get it. See? That's the duality of life. That's the duality of the world. As the dog is barking in the back, Orisha. That is the duality of the world. And so with that being said, family, y'all stay elevating, y'all stay growing, and stay prosperous in the world. Ashiel.